Often smoking in the cemetery, he unexpectedly saved his own life but also changed his fate, ending up in a mental hospital. Today's story comes from the netizen this person loved. In 2009, Jiangzi was in the second year of junior high school and had entered a rebellious phase, often skipping classes, sometimes alone and sometimes with friends. Behind their school was a cement road flanked by forests on both sides. It was hot in the summer, but that was fine. They would escape to the forest, lie on hammocks, and while away the time reading novels amidst the clouds of their breath. There were several graves in the woods, looking very old. One of the largest graves was covered with moss, and the tombstone was inscribed with traditional characters, but they were so weathered that it was hard to discern what was written. Each time he passed by, Brother Chang would light a cigarette, stand upside down in front of the tombstone, calling it making friends. Time flew by, and after graduating from junior high school, Jiangzi and a good friend, Xiuju, who was about to study abroad, returned to their school. The two of them used to play until it got dark and decided to ride an electric scooter around the school before going home. Naturally, they went to the cement road behind the school. Xiuju was riding the small electric scooter, sitting behind, and the two were laughing in the wind on the road. When the electric scooter reached about 1/3 of the way, Jiangzi suddenly saw a very tall black person in the nearby forest. How do you describe it? It was a thick black from head to toe. This person suddenly ran past Jiangzi, and at first, Jiangzi didn't react, until the electric scooter turned over. But they were on an electric scooter, and the speed was not slow. Just say a person runs fast, and it doesn't mean they whooshed past. Jiangzi shouted at Xiuju, who was riding the bicycle, but he himself was driving as if he didn't hear, without slowing down at all. What's even stranger is that the road seemed endless. When you see the crossroads about 30 meters ahead, the car keeps going forward, but it can't reach the crossroads. At this moment, Jiangzi's heart was anxious and scared. Just at this critical moment, a person wearing a long gown from the Republic of China suddenly came out of the nearby forest and stopped in the middle of the road. It was a big surprise, let alone a person. This person was very strange, and their speed was very fast towards this person. Xiuju, who was riding the bicycle, still didn't respond and rushed forward directly. When you want to hit that person, Jiangzi's eyes closed instinctively, and with a sudden vibration of the car, the whole person and the car fell together. When Jiangzi opened his eyes again, he found himself lying in a forest next to Xiuju, who was driving. At this time, Xiuju also stood up, and Jiangzi asked him what happened. Brother Xiuju was also panicked and said, I just got halfway, and I suddenly saw a very tall black person suddenly overtook me. I asked if you saw it and ignored me. My car couldn't stop, so I had to keep going. Later, he hit the man wearing the Republic of China coat and fell. I didn't hurt him. Hearing this, Jiangzi was very confused. First of all, I didn't hear Xiuju calling him at all. Obviously, I called Xiuju, and he didn't respond. Secondly, it was clearly fallen in the middle of the road. How could it be in the forest now? Who was the last person wearing a long gown from the Republic of China? Thinking about this, Jiangzi began to look at his position, which was not important. The place where they stood up was actually the place where they often skipped classes. Not far away was their own. Oh, it's okay to come and have a smoke. The person wearing the long gown from the Republic of China just hit him. Why didn't he see anyone else? Thinking about it, Shao Jun fired and said, Jiangzi is wrong. Where is my electric donkey? Where is my electric donkey? At that time, the two people were relatively young, and they didn't care about danger. But what if the electric donkey was lost? That would be a big deal. So the two started looking for the electric car in the moonlight, but they searched back and forth on that road for a long time and didn't see the electric car. This Xiuju was so anxious that he peed his pants. The car was gone, and it was inevitable to go home for a beating. So the two expanded the search range, and unexpectedly, they really found it. The car actually fell by the reservoir on the other side of the forest. At that time, it was less than 10 centimeters away from the reservoir, and there were deep brake marks on the ground. At that time, the whole scalp of Jiangzi was numb. No matter how silly you are, you can think that they were saved by the person wearing a long gown from the Republic of China, otherwise, they should have been buried in the reservoir. Is it because they often smoke? He saved their lives because he personally thought that strong people are good. Thinking about this power made Xiuju put 3 cigarettes on the tombstone. After apologizing, the two went home. Although he later told many people about this, they all said he was bragging. And Jiangzi gradually forgot about this matter. Until the first year of college, because Jiangzi's grades were average, he went to a local wild chicken university, and he didn't usually live on campus. One morning, he took the No. 2 bus to go to school at more than 8 o'clock. Just as the car was about to pass the crossroads, an uncle riding a bicycle was crossing the road. Just as the uncle walked to the road, a very tall person who was all black suddenly ran to the uncle at a very fast speed. I saw the uncle panic and suddenly got off his bike. At this moment, a big truck rushed past, and the old man suddenly realized that the black man disappeared without a trace. This scene made Jiangzi's heart pound. In addition to witnessing a car accident, the most important thing was that he would never mistake the black man. It was exactly the same as what he saw in the forest when he graduated in the 3rd year. The last time I saw myself and Xiaoju almost disappeared, this time I saw him, and the living people fell in front of him. I saw that this black man is the legendary death. It's hard to say now, but these thoughts flashed through Jiangzi's mind in the blink of an eye. However, the next second, the black man had already disappeared from the scene, and when asked around, no one saw the mysterious black man. This scene had a great impact on Jiangzi. When he returned to school, he began to search the internet for various information. At that time, he found a thin ghost shadow brought. This description is a bit like the black mysterious man. Since then, Jiangzi has been very careful everywhere, afraid that the black man will appear again. This story is not over yet. In 2019, in May of that year, it was already the 3rd year of Jiangzi's work. At that time, he was working at the front desk of a state-owned hotel. One day after work, Jiangzi walked out of the hotel door as usual. When he walked to the crossroads closest to the hotel, a black shadow suddenly ran out from the crossroads. Although it was only a dozen seconds, Jiangzi still recognized it immediately. The memories of the past came gushing back, and he couldn't be wrong. He met the black mysterious man again. The next second, Jiangzi saw a young woman with a child crossing the road. Obviously, the target of the black mysterious man was the mother and child. There was no time to think more. At that time, Jiangzi rushed directly, using all his strength to drag the woman and her child back to the roadside. Because he was too anxious, his center of gravity was unstable, and the woman, the child, and Jiangzi fell directly into the roadside green belt. Before Jiangzi stood up, he heard a harsh breaking sound. After Jiangzi stood up, a car stopped at the crossroads, which was exactly where the mother and child were crossing the road. Looking around, the black mysterious man had disappeared again. Jiangzi was very excited at the time. He was right. He saved the mother and child from the hands of the black mysterious man. However, the ending made Jiangzi feel uncomfortable. So far, the mother asked Jiangzi why he did this. He and his child were slightly injured. Even the car driver bit Jiangzi, claiming that Jiangzi's behavior made him nervous, causing the car to drift on the road, not only hurting him but also making his car hit the guardrail in the middle of the road. Although Jiangzi argued, no one believed him. More importantly, in the traffic police team's monitoring, there was no black mysterious man in Jiangzi's mouth. Everyone blamed Jiangzi, and even Jiangzi's family couldn't believe Jiangzi's words. In the end, they not only paid for the loss but also sent Jiangzi to a mental hospital. In the first few days of hospitalization, Jiangzi insisted on his own words. However, in order to go out, he had to cooperate with the treatment and pretend that he was really mentally ill. After more than 2 months of treatment, he was released. Since then, Jiangzi has become much quieter, and the people around him have pointed fingers at him. Originally, he was a very cheerful person, but he has become a houseman. Indeed, no one is willing to make friends with a mentally ill person, except for Xiaoju, who believes him, and everyone else treats him as a fool. The matter has been in his heart for many years, and finally, he took the opportunity to contribute and shared his story with me. First of all, I am willing to believe Jiangzi. Secondly, there are too many things in the world that we cannot explain, but not being able to explain now does not mean that we will not be able to explain in the future. Treat the strange people and things around us rationally and do not label others easily. Wow. See you next story. Please note that the translation provided is a summary to fit within the constraints of length and complexity. Some details may have been omitted or paraphrased for clarity and conciseness.